no Durant, no Clay. But they did have Draymond, and Draymond thinks this result makes lots of people happy.
Everybody want to see us lose. So I'm sure people are happy they're hurt. We just got to continue to battle and win the next game, go back to Toronto, win Game 5, come back to Oracle, win Game 6, and then celebrate. Fun times ahead.
Right here in the second row.
Sounds like the man has a game plan. Sounds like he plans on winning the next 3. And that's not a guarantee. Nothing worse than the guarantee. He just, what's he going to say? Well, we probably are going to lose the next 2 games, and that'll be that. And it's 1, 2, 3 Cancun. Shout out to the boys at Inside the NBA. Where's Windhorst? Like, I turn around this way. I don't know. I know he's on the road. I'm looking around the studio for my man, and now I see him. I had to turn around. I'm just curious your reaction to the approach Golden State took and what it says about their ultimate belief in doing what Draymond just suggested they can.
Yeah, so that works if Clay and Durant are okay on Friday. We don't know that to be true yet. Durant is going to go through a practice tomorrow, but I do believe that the Warriors had to make a calculated move here to basically reduce their odds in the short term to go for the better move in the long term. And I'll just say that if you're making an injury decision, Scott, Game 3 is a hard one because the time off between 3 and 4 is the tightest in the series. And it's early in the series, but it's not out of the woods in terms of a pivotal game. So they had a game to give, and I'll remind you that they are the greatest road playoff team in probably NBA history. They've won a road game in 23 consecutive series, so I don't think they're worried about losing home court. So they made a calculated risk tonight, but I thought the Raptors played great. And they were all business in their locker room after the game. They are not overreacting to the situation. And more than those stars they were missing, the fact that the Warriors did not have Kevon Looney tonight made a huge difference on the Warriors' defense. And the Raptors found some things that they're going to go to. And so Friday night has the potential to be one of the more interesting finals games we've seen in a long time.
I completely agree with you. And look, I know the Warriors are a great road team. We've used the stats about them under Kerr, and they've won a game on the road in every single playoff series. That's great. But Toronto's won in Philly, Toronto's won in Milwaukee, and now Toronto's won in Golden State. And I feel like there's blood in the water. And I'm not saying they're going to win the finals, but you know better than I would because you're there. Your sense of this team and the level of confidence they have, do you sense that Brian, that it's growing and grew tonight?
Yeah, and I honestly believe, they played DeMarcus Cousins off the floor tonight. They were not, I guess they just weren't ready in Game 2 for Cousins to play. Gasol got outplayed. Gasol was so focused before this game. He was out here early, working very hard, very focused. Marc Gasol knew, Scott, that this was probably the most important game of his career. He had a sense of that feeling. You could just tell the way he was approaching the game. He came out with that mindset, and they played the bigs off the floor. And once the bigs get off the floor, now that opens up Serge Ibaka. Now they feel the loss of Kevon Looney. The Raptors found some stuff here. Now, if Durant comes back and scores 55 points in a game, granted, the great team is one of the great teams of all time is going to win. But the Raptors feel like they put some stakes in the ground tonight. And I think you're going to see that in their confidence as the series goes onward.
And the really fascinating thing to me is Golden State knows that they can be confident about Durant if he's Durant. But you can't know what either he or Clay can give you, can you? So that's what fascinates me. It's just a guess, isn't it?
The uncertainty going into Friday is crazy because we're really not going to know how Durant's going to be until after he goes through that practice tomorrow. And by the way, the Warriors are not going to practice. So they're going to have to rally up their guys at the end of their bench, their two-way guys, their G League guys, some coaches to create a practice environment for him. So he's not even really going up against a real practice. So then you got to see how he bounces back from that. Then you got to see how Clay's hamstring is. Can he run around? Can he run the 3 miles he normally does on Friday? And then let's just even give you that Durant will be healthy and that Clay will be healthy. What do they do with their style? Tonight, and really for the last 10 games in the playoffs, this has been Steph's machine. Steph has been the guy that's running everything. How do you integrate them back in? I was figuring when Durant came back that there was going to be a loss in there just as they got used to each other again, and that would be a game that they could give. But they have no games to give now. There's no margin for error. That was one of the things about this team is they always had the biggest margin for error. Now their margin for error is here.
And the best thing they got going for him is if he plays at all, whatever he is, you know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant. We'll see if he and Clay are there, and we'll see what happens.
We're also set up for one of the great heroic performances in finals history. Could a guy win a finals MVP missing 3 games?
Yeah.
Honestly, it could go, or the last game at Oracle could be Friday night. It could go either way. I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, well, I think you're obligated to, and I'll be talking to you afterwards, Brian. Thank you so much.
All right.
Well, he alludes to all of the really fascinating subplots and scenarios that are in play. It's just the 4th time in the last 5 postseasons the Warriors have fallen behind 2-1, and while it's not an ideal position, you can use the past as its guide. In the previous seasons, they've actually worked out real well. They've went 9-1 in the following games, but it is obvious, but I'll say it anyway, that in none of those situations were they as banged up as they currently are. This is very different.
SportsCenter on the road is presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.